Welcome to Vintage Coin Op Restorations and our latest project. If you've been following this, it's probably been about 2.5 years that we've been messing with this thing. And what it is a French corner crane. When I say corner, I mean corner because it literally sits in a corner of a room. And if you saw the original video of this when we put it out, it was extremely tired. We're going to date this back to probably the early 1900s, 1910, maybe even earlier. It was really beat up, but at the same time, we did not want to strip it, sand it, and take all the patina away. So what we did was truly restore it. There were some big gouges that we filled in and basically overlaid the original finish, enhanced it, and cleared over it. Now this walnut crotch in the center was completely bubbled up everywhere. And we were able to get this thing down to, I would say it's about 95%. A couple parts that we couldn't get down, but it is 100 times better than what it started out to be. It's a beautiful, beautiful 4-section piece. And if you remember, we had a bunch of holes all over this playfield. I'm sorry, not playfield, but this giant excursion plate. And what it was is, after so many years, people changing coin mechanisms and obviously the game breaking down and trying to make it work a different way, people just drill holes in these things to get them working. They weren't meant to be something beautiful like a piece of furniture. These were made to make money. And if it was sitting in a warehouse, it wasn't making money. So their biggest thing was get this thing out and make some money. So we had all that taken care of. In fact, if you come close to it, you can't even see it, and that's what we wanted. Though all the metal has been either polished or nickel plated. From the original video, there was only one handle on this machine. Now we have two, and I'll tell you that why in a little bit. The glass is all original. You know, there are scratches on it, but that is part of the beauty. But all the trim has all been re-nickeled. So what else is going on? Well, let's start off with going on the inside. This cool curved door. All right. And what's going on in here? Well, this was a nightmare. The machine came out of Europe, and they have a different electrical voltage, and there was all this funky stuff in here if you watched the original video. So we had to get rid of all of it and figure a different way to make it work and try to clean it up. There were, you know, if I have 20 wires in here now, there might have been 40 wires because they never took them out. They just kept on adding things onto it. So needless to say, we went around and did everything inside here. All the parts have been detailed, polished, sandblasted. We have all the original Mercury switches, and any wiring that I did replace, we replaced it with period wire. Meaning that this is all fabric coated, and you know, we don't have any electric tape on it. It's all heat shrink tubing. Anywhere there is a connection, then underneath each connection is always, of course, soldered. Take a sneak peek in here. I can just put the camera in there. The motor is original. That is to the machine. We don't know if it's an original motor that was originally here, but it still date back very, very early. And another detail, this deck was covered with holes. So what we ended up doing was covering it in felt, as we also did the bottom, just to add a little class to it. All the hinges, as you see in the door, have all been nickel plated. All screws are dressed. And if you remember the first video, it was an absolute nightmare of how they connected all these wires. So I always like to save parts of old machines that I can't restore, so what we did was completely manufacture a electrical station here where we have a fuse, we have an original Bakelite switch that was for this machine, but it kind of turned on, not sure what it turned on or off, not the machine, because the machine was wired hot. So, and it was, in fact, energized the machine. But we try to do this safe and very clean, just like it would have been if it was manufactured, you know, in the 50s or something, especially, you know, here in the US, where this kind of connection is very typical. Your pin and prog. As we come around, you can't see, but you know, we used all of the braided wire everywhere. And here's a neat little detail that just kind of goes unlooked, but here is a bracket for a lock, and what this is opens up the cabinet. So we're going to open that out, and we're going to swing the glass open. Big piece of glass. I'll bring it around. And right now, sitting on the bench is the original plate. Now that plate sits on these two ledges, and that's where all the toys would go. And this is the chute that the toys would slide down. And we have extra parts there. No, we're going to remake those. They were made out of, these are the glass inserts, which we'll redo. But these are the trim they use for the sides. We're going to do these in mahogany so it matches the rest of the cabinet. But let's take a look at inside here. We have a really neat mechanism here on down the bottom where we turn. As you turn this thing, it's all done with springs. And what you're doing is you are moving the crane to go into the center, to the rear, or like AV, Avante, I believe would be the front of something, and then I don't know what AR stands for, but probably another French word that means rear. So that's what that controls. And then over here on the, we're still, we had a motor that did get fried, and we're having it rebuilt right now. But what happened here is this little, it would turn this little worm drive, and what it's doing here is turning the crane left or right. And I'll show you the cam that's back there. So you can go forward, and then when you get to that furthest point, because of that little cutout, it'll let the motor come right back, going in the same direction, which is pretty neat. Now, the crane was probably the hardest thing to take apart because it was never meant to take apart, and we took it completely apart, had to grind it so I can allow for the plating of acid copper and 2 coats of nickel. So we had to take off material so that we can do this and have it work. Very, very cool piece. And all of this is all original. It has been polished, not plated. And the ceiling is even nickel plated. So inside here it's like a room full of mirrors. Really, really cool piece. And like I said, right here in the section here would be where the plate would go. But there's a couple things I still have to do to this thing, but what I want to do is show you the mechanism actually working. Another cool thing is the money comes down to shoot, and here we have all these original Mercury switches. So as they tilt forward and back, those are telling the machine to go on and off. And we have two of them. We have one up on top of the gears, and we got an original coin box, and we got some French coins, I believe, in there. And I also, let's try it. So I am going to, we'll do it twice so you can actually see the mechanism, and then we'll look up at the top and see it work. So when I drop the money in, let's just keep an eye on that Mercury switch. Don't understand that it's moving. Very neat. Now I'm going to do it again so you can see it in operation up here. Though this still needs to be adjusted, you'll see the full operation. Forward, pick up the item, bring it back, drop it down and release, and that's the end. Very cool. Stay tuned for the final video when we put some toys in here, or candy, and we'll have the trim on both sides. Those metal pieces go over here instead of that cheap metal that was there. But very happy to get this thing done. I apologize to those who've been trying to call me in the last 2 weeks as we assemble this thing. I haven't been able to get to the phone. This thing has pretty much devoured my time, because once you get in it, you can't stop. But I finally stopped now because everything's pretty much done. Got a few things to tune up. We're waiting on a motor, and it'll be ready. So stay tuned. If you have a crane like this for sale, or you need one restored, please give us a call. We're located in Chicago, Illinois. Our phone number is area code 630-624-7466. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to my videos so you can see all the new machines coming to the warehouse. And if you haven't seen some of the videos of the new warehouse, just do a quick pan. Here we have a cigarette machine that we're going to have at Vend Art. So that should be a new video probably in the next couple days. Thanks for watching.